beautifully emphasizing the fact that how we need to maintain a balance between the AI and human direction. So thank you so much for some really thought-provoking insights. So with this, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, moving forward. And next up, we have a session lined up. For the same, I would now like to invite on stage Alexei Archinov, Google Lead, gTech, EMEA Emerging Markets. A very warm welcome to you, Alexei. Over to you.
Hello, everybody. First of all and foremost, thank you for inviting me. I work for Google. I'm leading the Google Technical Consultants in emerging markets. And you can thank my daughter, my little Sophie, for the pink shirt I'm wearing today. I was planning for the white one, but it didn't work because she has a beautiful pink flower. So I'm a bit nervous because it's the first time I actually present something in front of my daughter, and I'm at the same time very, very proud. Thank you very, very much. So privacy, a very, very important thing which evolved over the last years. It's not something new. Okay? Yeah, it's not something new. It has been here for a couple of years. But it has started with just a fuzzy word, with something which is like fancy. It's something which we just said, okay, let's play with this. Let's go with the programmatic. Let's just play with the data, where we get this data from, and yada, yada, yada. And it actually evolved into the quite a challenge for the publishers. Ad blockers. Think about it, right? I mean, it's, those the technology which actually appeared because the privacy got, some sort of important part, and the users get scared a bit. They would like to actually see less ads. That it turned into the next step. Now, these days, the privacy is less of just a technical thing. It's more of the actual economical thing which affects the bottom line of the marketing budgets, of the marketing investments, the ROI. So you cannot just, just have it just in a nice way mentioned in the conferences. This is actually a very business thing. And the two sections which I would like to cover and distinguish is that actually the privacy today is something is very relevant, if not the same thing as the performance. Because the privacy cannot be without the performance, and now these days performance cannot be without the privacy. So let's discuss today the power durable performance, how to power it, and what are the actual steps toward. I would try to keep my 15 minutes, which is even less now, on the level above the details, and if needed, I can just jump in on the offline and probably touch upon those particular things. Now, bear with me. I will try to figure out. Okay, so what's important about this is that the Google recognized where the whole industry is going. And a bunch of the solutions which are coming out in the way of the features of the products or the solutions as a standalone solutions, having this privacy-centric approach in the center of it. And the discussing that, probably the major part of this is that dilemma of that people, and based on the quite known BCG analysis, 74% of the users, they simply reject to see non-relevant ads. They don't want to spend time. They don't want to be clogged with those banners or videos which has no relevance. They don't want to waste time. Yet, on the other side, pretty much the same portion of us, 80%, now being concerned how the data is being used. And you get in those two things, same people saying, oh, we need data because otherwise how would I see the actually important ads? On the other side, oh, I don't want to share my data. So that kind of thing which the really trends which we are living in. So those two things are driving the two key elements of the ecosystem, the regulatory and the technology. So those two things particularly drive the regulations and all the GDPR and all other acts And actually, these aches which hanging over there, trying to punish everybody who is trying to abuse user data. On the other hand, we have a technology. And the technology is pretty much in the same situation, and we think that the technology causing some issues. But as a matter of fact, the technology just follows a trend. So all those things which we see is just the actually blocking user level traction, or the building alternative ID solutions. We're trying to build the environment where the partners or data partners can safely exchange the data, and they actually enhance the data of each other. And then lastly, build the privacy preserving solutions. This is all a part of this big thing of the privacy and how to respect the user, yet to make the campaigns effective and the performance be performance after all. Speaking of which, Google is actually investing quite a lot. And let me just give you a couple examples where Google is developing the solutions with the privacy-centric approach. A couple of years ago, we have probably heard about the ADH, or Ads Data Hub, where the Google actually built the system where the clients, partners of Google, Google itself, can contribute the data without compromising each and everybody's PII, or the personal data. This is the system where the you can actually derive the quite different insights out of the campaigns, and then activate those insights of the Google products. Now, these days, we're definitely talking about the further developments, and the, Google is launching the AI solutions. The very interesting panel. Thank you very much for the participants. I was really excited to hear about this. The solutions which actually help not only automate the processes, but actually find the trends of how users behave, and out of those trends, build the proper solutions on top of that. So those solutions are built into the products. They've been launched this year. There was quite a big announcement of those, and I'll be happy to share that afterwards on the margins of this summit. Now, what's important about this is Google is obviously has a lot of data. There's no secret about it. I mean, you cannot deny it. 7 billion people overall between different products of Google. This is something which you cannot hide. However, respecting the user is very, very important. So building the mechanisms how the users can actually delete their data or wipe their data, making sure that the data cannot be leaked or used on a personalized way. That's what the Google is really investing in. And the just lost my mind. Okay, so the important part of this is the making sure that the data is reusable for the performance campaigns. So that's what to do. Now let's take a look at the. Good. All right. So let's take a look at the actually what are the key actions, because this is quite important. So we know respecting the data, respecting the users. This is only buzzwords, but what actually we are discussing here, what are we talking about? So there are three major topics or major pillars that Google chooses when he's trying to, I would say, categorize the efforts around the data and the privacy. So first of all is to build. So build more meaningful custom relationships. That means that the user, whoever used these marketing messages, have to be engaged. He has to get the message or the communication or the creative which actually relates to him. And by him or her, I mean in the right moment, in the right way, on the right format. So all that has to be matched, and that cannot be without data. That's clearly so. Right now, measure, a very interesting part. As the whole digital marketing become more and more complicated, to say the least, comprehensive, it actually gets more and more different marketing channels into the campaigns. That all becomes very important. How you not just measure the campaign itself, but how you actually trace the user from the moment that you actually engage him, when you actually born an interest in your product or solution into actual sale, and how after the sale you prevent the churn, how you make sure that the actually client experience would be proper, and on top of that, you're using the branding to make sure that the user understands what your brand is about, and then the whole thing returns and will keep rotating. And now the insights. So you measure the campaign, so you know pretty much how users travel from A to Z. But now, how would you drive the insights? What do you do next? What kind of audiences you would like to engage? And again, remember, you cannot follow the same person online just because this is a privacy issue. This is, I mean, you don't want to follow him, you don't want to stalk him. So, but how would you actually build the proper behavior of your campaigns, engaging more people, yet making sure that the performance is there? So this is the pillars, and this is how Google looks at the solutions, and they build the narrative around it there. Now, we just discussed that the performance would be consistent of the first-party data infrastructure, very important, how you collect the data, where do you store it, how would you actually match the data between different data points between each other, that's very, very important. Now, how you feed this data into the different AIs. Would it be just automation, or would it be the Gen AIs, which we just discussed in the previous sections? And then privacy preserving, how you make sure that every user has a right and ability to erase the data from the systems, whichever systems we're discussing here. So if you take these metrics, I don't want to read this slide, it's not about it. Those are the things which you can actually do, and a solution which you can use from Google to figure out your plan. Now, that's not about it, it's not only about it, but now if you activate, measure, and build, and now you have your own objectives, your business objectives, the metrics would become even more complicated. I would probably take another 15 minutes just to get, read the first column. Really, really complicated. It's not a buzzword. The measurement and the privacy had become a very complicated, comprehensive thing by itself, which stitched together so many different things. It's not just search, it's not just video, it's just the display, it's not the social media, it's all together. It's digital out of home. I mean, so many different things come together, and the measurement and the privacy becomes the core and the glue of the whole marketing activity these days. Now, it's a very interesting thing, which is very dear to my heart, quite honestly. I'm working on that because the maturity or measurement maturity had become a very hot topic these days. So how would you actually travel from the point when you just simply Google tag or put in tags on your digital assets into the moment, and you actually can predict and build predictive model? I mean, there's a path in here, and you cannot just simply jump from one point to another without making so many different things in between. Without, and that's the key message, changing your business, changing your product. You cannot actually expect that all of a sudden the data would be just working for you. It's more. You have to make a lot of changes inside the organization to make sure that you measure the proper things inside, that not only you measure, you store it properly, you respect the user, you use those signals to activate your campaigns, so many different things. And this is all the Google solutions which we actually put on this map to introduce you into this maturity framework. Now, with that, I would probably present you like three simple steps. Simple is definitely a joke, a way of playing with the audience. It's that they're not sometimes simple and they're not sometimes cheap, but yet very, very important. And I think I love the expression I heard from the very first speaker here. If you would not invest in this, if you would not take this seriously, you're definitely going to miss the bus. economies are best not only in India, but anywhere at all. So this is really a key message of mine today. Thank you very much for having me.